Hi, brothers and sisters. I hope you're well. Just gonna provide you with an update on what is going on in Russia and Ukraine at the moment. And there are many media outlets that are focused on what the Ukrainians are doing in the region of Kursk. This is in the northern part of if you look at the Ukrainian map and you see the line of contact is the northern part. So it wasn't really a place where the Russians were attacking the Ukrainians. However, it was a possible point where the Russians will be conducting an offensive and opening a new front. So this whole area was mined by the Russians, and then they removed the mines. And it seems like the Ukrainians, after seeing the Russians removing the mines, they decided to just go through that passage and invade part of Russia. So this is close to the Ukrainian region of Sumy, which I did mention a few times that the Russians were thinking or planning about getting into that region, opening a new front. That was due to the amount of strikes on that specific region by the Russians. So it seems like the Ukrainians decided to have the initiative and go ahead and attack Russian territory. As I did say before, the Ukrainian argument is that they are getting invaded and attacked by the Russians without any reason, right? And this is the reason why they are fighting back, just to gain back or to claim back their territory. However, right now we see the opposite, where we have Ukraine, which is considered a victim of Russian aggression. But now we have Ukraine invading Russian territory, which for many people makes no sense whatsoever. Well, the Ukrainians are fighting the Russians at the front, all over the contact line, and they don't have enough resources to keep the line. So it has been a war of attrition, where the Russians are basically deteriorating the situation of the Ukrainian troops and not necessarily advancing, but just allowing the Ukrainians to continue sending troops to the front so they can weaken the Ukrainian army. Now, with this new offensive in Kursk, obviously the Ukrainians have taken troops from different fronts and also reservists and also new recruit soldiers, and they've sent them into this offensive, which means that the Ukrainians are taking resources from certain places and sending them to Russia. That will automatically translate into a weakness in the Ukrainian defenses in certain regions. And this is what we say, that this is what we've seen in the front, mainly in the south contact line, where the Russians are moving really fast. They've also almost taken, I don't know if it's a village or a small city called New York, which was a strong Ukrainian fortification. Is being taken by the Russians, and obviously this, you won't see this in the Western media, but since the Ukrainians decided to launch the attack into Kursk, the Russians are advancing way faster, and in certain places of the contact line, the Ukrainian defenses are just collapsing completely. Now, apparently this decision was made by Zelensky, okay, who is not legally the president of Ukraine according to the constitution, but he made his decision to go into Kursk, and he continues asking for more troops to go into that direction. Now, what we've seen so far, it looks like a raiding party. So we have Ukrainian troops, according to some information, around 14,000 Ukrainian troops that have penetrated the Russian territory, and they're just raiding different villages. They're just running from one village to the other. I don't know what kind of war tactic is this. Obviously, it's not a conventional one. Are they just running around, and they take one village and then they move into the next one without necessarily controlling that territory. They're just moving around and advancing. Obviously, in this advance, they are getting attacked by the Russians. Let's remember that they are within Russian territory. So this is Russian controlled territory. So the Russians know this terrain really well, and they know the roads, when they start, where they end, and they're actually conducting ambushes to the Ukrainian forces. We've seen pictures and videos of convoys of Ukrainian forces completely destroyed. We've seen videos of Ukrainian Western provided vehicles to the Ukrainians that have been completely obliterated. We've seen videos of Russian ambushing Ukrainian troops that just raiding villages. We've seen videos of the Ukrainian troops running from house to house into supermarkets in these villages that have been completely cleared by the Russians and evacuated by the Russians, sorry. And they're just going house to house to get some food. They're going into supermarkets, getting food from there as well, obviously just taking it, which is something that the Russians were criticized at the beginning of the war for doing, but now the Ukrainians are doing exactly the same thing. So the Russians were criticized for invading Ukraine, now Ukrainians are doing it. The Russians were criticized for getting into Ukrainian stores and taking food, and now the Ukrainians are doing it. So it seems like the Ukrainian supply lines, they're not really stabilized at the moment, because the Russians keep attacking the back of these of the supply lines. They're attacking the border regions, making sure that Ukrainians cannot continue providing supplies to the troops that they are within Russia. Now, yesterday and the day before yesterday, I've seen a couple of videos of large numbers of Ukrainian troops that have been captured. Equally, the Ukrainians are also capturing certain Russian soldiers in certain villages where they are attacking. But as I say, there are many military commentators, which I'm not sure about how much experience they have in war, but they seem really agitated, and they're only reporting about Kursk basically, and they're not focusing on all the areas in the contact line. And obviously for them, this is a big breakthrough for the Ukrainians. However, history tells us, mainly in Kursk, history tells us that is not the best place to attack. In fact, the Germans in the Second World War did exactly the same thing, and that was the last breath basically, where they were defeated by the Soviet Union and forced to fall back. And every empire or emperor in the past that tried to conquer Russia or Russian territory, they did suffer the same fate. Napoleon suffered the same fate. The Russians are happy to retreat for certain territories, allowing the enemies to get deep into the territory, and then they will just ambush them. Complete total ambush every single day until they destroy these troops. As per historical events like Napoleon invading Russia and going all the way to the capital, the Russians just left and they moved into the second capital. They burned the main capital, which is Moscow, and then they started destroying the French troops. Many of these troops couldn't obviously continue advancing because they were freezing due to weather conditions, and then the Russians took advantage and they completely destroyed them. So now there are certain similarities here where we have the Ukrainians that they don't have enough resources to defend all the front line. However, they decide to launch this operation into Russia. They did say that the main objective was to capture a nuclear plant and to be able to exchange it for the Zaporozhye nuclear plant, which was recently attacked by the Ukrainians, by the way. And there's other theories that say that the Ukrainians wanted to take territory, the Kursk region, and then be able to trade it for another region when it comes to peace talks with Russia. Obviously, Russia is not going to negotiate with Ukraine at all if they control certain territories in the country. So the Russians will not sit on the negotiating table until the Ukrainians leave the territory. And in fact, this could be a strategy by the Russians, if you think about it historically, of allowing the enemies to get in. Why? Well, this border territory was mine, just to make sure that the Ukrainians did not attempt to get into the Russian territory. And then they removed the mines. And this was observed by the Ukrainians and obviously Western intelligence. After doing this, the Ukrainians raided Russian villages, and they're getting deep and deeper into Russian territory, really far from the nuclear plant, but they're taking certain villages. The Russians are evacuating the population. before the Ukrainians reach. But as I say, they're just ambushing them, and the amount of Ukrainian troops that lost their lives is every day is increasing. According to certain reports, the Ukrainians have taken over 24 villages and settlements, but according to the Ukrainians, according to Sersky, they've taken around 74 villages in total, which is a lot, and most probably exaggerated figure. But as you can see, the Ukrainians are using resources in Russia, and this could translate in a defeat of the Ukrainians in all different lines. Because if they invest resources into an operation within Russia, Russia is really big, and they have enough troops to stop the advance. But for some reason, they're not doing it. They're not sending reinforcements to the area. They're not relocating resources from, let's say, the south of Ukraine into this area. And the Ukrainians don't even know where the Russian reinforcements are at this moment. The Russians are using FPV drones. They're using missile strikes from the distance in order to destroy the Ukrainian troops. So, and similarly, the Ukrainians are just using this kind of tactics, like they're just outflanking, trying to outflank the Russians from the side, and trying to kind of encircle them, but then they're unable to do it. The Russians always manage to break through or to destroy these troops that are trying to do this maneuver. So this is the current situation at the moment, and it is getting difficult for the Ukrainians, as I did say before. Despite the fact that there are many military bloggers saying that, oh, this is a success for Ukraine, just bear in mind that they are in the Russian territory. The Russians are taking their time as well. They haven't been using the aviation too much to launch like FABs into these Ukrainian troops. Obviously, they're hiding in Russian homes, so most probably they don't want to destroy the infrastructure, but they're using quite a lot of alligators, KH-8 helicopters to trace Ukrainian tanks and personnel vehicles and attack them from the distance. So it is a difficult situation. Many people don't really understand what's the real objective of the Ukrainians in this region. And obviously at the beginning, there was a hype, okay, of the Ukrainians have entered Russian territory, which was like, okay, what are you guys doing? Like, why are you doing this? You know, this makes no sense whatsoever. And they continue advancing. Obviously, there was like no one waiting there for them. And then now is when things are getting complicated. So, as I said, things are getting difficult for the Ukrainians and the Russians. It seems like they have everything under control, although I think they're losing territories, but maybe this might be a strategy. But let's see what happens in the next days. And as always, I'll continue informing you.